If I say your shirt is
Do you mind not
black,
touching me?
if I say your shirt is black, you're like, no.
You've touched me
it's
several
dark,
times at
dark
this point.
brown.
Oh my
You're
God,
gonna be like,
come
no,
on
it's dark,
now.
dark.
So last night, me and my husband were talking, and we first started talking about how our 14-year-old daughter is starting to find boys attractive, and we're noticing the type of boys she likes, and the friend groups she's into and whatnot. And we still have several years probably before it has to get worrisome. Although there is a 14-year-old in our town right now that is pregnant, but that is that's besides the point. That is not anyone that she is allowed to hang out with or anything like that. But yeah, so we were discussing the type of guy we would want her to be with. And then I started telling him about this whole manosphere movement and how there's this whole movement of men that are getting on the internet and sitting around and discussing what they think the definition of a beta and an alpha is, and like they're coming with all of this resentment and all of these feelings, and really honing in on like the honeymoon stage when you're starting to date someone. It doesn't really go in depth. They're basically teaching men how to be players and how to date immature girls and how to get those girls to like them. And yeah, it doesn't seem to be in depth. It doesn't take a totality look at what a good man actually is. And in fact, it flips it. It's like the inversion thing that we see in this modern world, which I think is part of like the demonic spirit that is, with us, the evil that is in this world. It inverts the truth everywhere, all around us. So he was baffled. He was absolutely baffled that this is happening. He had no idea. He started talking about how typically you should see this in the elders. Maybe you have a grandparent, maybe someone in your community. If you don't have a father, or it should be your father as well, an uncle, any people that that live around you. They sort of guide you in the right direction, or they'll tell you what's what. They tell you what you need to be doing. And I was like, yes, this is exactly what I was saying. This is garbage. This is absolute garbage. What kind of men are walking around saying, if we have to pay all the bills, what do we need you for? It's just a really dumb sort of perspective. And it happens to be super feminine. So anyway, I was like, do you remember when I got pregnant with our daughter? Obviously he knows, but that was for y'all. So yeah, I was pregnant. We weren't married yet. And we had not been dating very long at all, by the way. So we went to his grandparents' house, and his grandfather said it in front of everyone. When are y'all planning to get married? When are you going to marry her? I remember him asking this multiple times, probably every time we saw him. He talked to him alone about this. Chris's father talked to him about this. I remember other people asking me as well, or asking him in our family. I don't remember specifically who, but I just remember his grandfather was asking this a lot. And we need this. We need this sort of pressure put down on us by people that know better, that do better, that have better character, that are wiser. And if you don't have that, then you're leaning to, I guess, what's cool, what's trending, or the culture. And online, like hearing this sort of podcast thinking realm of manospheres talk is going to win some of these guys over, because they don't have that pressure being put on them.
How you say
You
it.
think that you're
All
right
right,
all the
Sexist
time.
tone.
Okay,
You're
sure.
right all the
Fresh.
time, and you want to know that you're
Wait.
right all the time.
No, it's
No,
just that
no, you're right all the
It's just
time.
that
That's
I'm
what it
going
is.
to. Here's the.
So I saw this, and oh man, it's so clear to me. The resentment, I don't know, the chip on his shoulder with women. He is just so lost and confused about how to communicate and gain the respect and the validation or whatever it is he needs from these women. So he's just angry instead, and he's like, calculated all these ways that you have to do it, and this is what they're thinking, and this is what's what, instead of just being a good person, a good man with good character, good values, morals, etc., and trying to find a good woman if that's what you want. He was talking about how if a girl doesn't hook up with him after like they've been out or whatever, and he's respecting her boundaries, or she's putting her foot down this way. And so he equally, equal rights, all that stuff he was talking about. So he can set his boundary down and be like, okay, well then I don't want to see you. I don't want to deal with you at all anymore. Get up, leave, go. And as a matter of fact, he will pick up his phone in front of her and call a girl or text a girl and, let her know that he's going to somebody else, basically. And so it really just turns into this weird, twisted fight and vengeance. That's what it is. It's like he needs to show them. He needs to get them back all the time. And it's just, I don't know, it's weird. It really is. It's weird. Like, I've seen guys that are players, and they don't act like this. They know how to communicate, at least.
If I say your shirt is
Do you mind
black,
not touching me?
if I say your shirt is black, you're like, no.
You've touched me
it's
several
dark,
times at
dark
this point.
brown.
Oh my
You're
god,
like,
come
no,
on
it's
now.
dark, dark
Don't
brown.
start.
Oh,
I won't bore you with the rest of this, but you can tell this girl next to him that touched him, she's trying to make nice this entire time, even after this. She is smiling, she's being non-combative. She could have gotten mad in response to the things he's saying, but she's not. She's trying to be cordial. She's trying, and he is full of this anger, spite, whatever this is, that he needs to constantly put these women in their place or something. Then he proceeds to have this little hissy fit, and this video goes on for multiple more minutes. You see him. You sitting there explaining it away. Why I equal in boundaries, and your friend is shaming me because I set a boundary and I said not to touch me, and it's just, it's too much. And look at her. She's like, oh, what? Look at him. This woman, she seems very sweet, so she's so not used to this. She's used to being able to kindly disagree with someone. You see, like, all of these men, they're sitting around and discussing and talking and thinking and making up all these rules and guidelines that other guys need to follow to go out and date. And really, like I said, it's just to be a player in your younger years. It's not really... They're going to end up, Kevin Samuels' age, single, and they will pretend and say, oh, this is where I want to be. I'm glad I didn't settle down. Because they never found anyone they were compatible with, right? So, and they won't, because they've got all these weird, twisted rules, and they're not being natural, and they don't know what it is to really be masculine and strong and a good man. So, and they're sitting here trying to figure out, well, how do you get these women to respect you and to submit and do all this stuff? It's not that complicated. You just be yourself, be natural. And if you're coming from a genuine place and you're a good man, she will, if she's that type of woman, she's a good woman as well, she will naturally fit with that. And you will see that as you get to know her. You will see that she likes cooking for you. She likes doing these things. And it works. So I was planning on this being a very short video. So I'll get to the conclusion of the discussion my husband and I were having. Well, I saw this little boy, my daughter's age, and we've known him since she was little. They are the exact same age. They used to play together. They used to go fishing together. They ride four-wheelers together. And, all of this stuff growing up as children. And I see him now. He is such a hard-working boy. He is so hard-working. He has a job at 14 years old at the feed store. That's where I saw him. And his family taught him very good values, because he has always, ever since he could reach the pedal, he was driving a tractor down our road. I mean, young, doing work that some of these men nowadays aren't even doing with his family, baling hay, tending to the cows, and just whatever needed to be done, he was doing, because that's what his family had him doing when he wasn't, doing his homeschool work. So, and mature about it too. That always really impressed me. But yeah, he's gonna make someone a good husband one day. That to me is ideal. Someone like that eventually, that the family comes down hard on them. They put the pressure down on to be a certain way, to do things a certain way, to get married, to have children, and to not abandon that ever. Okay, so what's cool though, and what's trendy, are these little boys that are making little dance videos on TikTok, and they've got their hair, coming all up and curly in the front, and and they don't have any real hobbies. They don't go hunting. They don't do anything. They fix themselves up, and they look cute, and they probably don't have that sort of pressure coming down on them, right? They either just don't have the family, or they don't, like, the community that they see values these sorts of things. They don't see it as warranted or necessary or cool or hip or whatever the case may be. And then if they're following the mainstream culture, that is, what's cool, what's swag, what are the cool guys doing? Like the ones that have nice cars and they have a lot of girls and they're going out to the nightclubs and stuff. That is completely opposite, or, well, it just isn't in alignment of fatherhood, being a husband, raising a stable family. When you think of those things, that seems like a very different type of guy, right? And so if that is the real high value man, how can the alpha be the one that's spreading the seed and not fulfilling any needs? As a matter of fact, when I think of the epitome of masculinity, I think of my father. He's no longer with us, but he was a very strong man, masculine. He didn't even demand respect. He just got it from everyone. And he was hardworking. He was stable. He was all of those things that we needed, And so when he married my mother, she was pregnant with her third child. And her marriage, her husband was a heroin addict. He had abandoned them. Then they had myself and my little brother, 2 more children. But actually, my sister, who my mom was pregnant with when they got together, she was the daddy's girl, because he was there from day one with her. And so they had a different sort of bond. And now this is the guy that they would say is the beta, though. This is the man they would call the beta. So the heroin addict, deadbeat, is the alpha. Three Ridge, who abandoned his child, he's the alpha. How does any of this make sense? It doesn't. The more I think about it, it really is just demonic, straight up. And so, yeah, it doesn't matter what culture the man who my daughter eventually chooses, where he comes from, what matters is who he is. Will he be the type of man that come to us and ask for her hand, that sort of thing. So, y'all have a blessed day.